definition of child psychology, it's the study of subconscious and conscious childhood development. Okay, so a child psychologist is going to observe how a child interacts with parents, how a child interacts with himself or herself, to the world, and to understand their mental development. And that's where a child psychologist comes into picture. A child psychologist also helps in understanding the difference between a normal stage of development or any sign of an abnormality while the child is developing. Okay, it also helps in understanding psychological patterns of a child, helping the parent understand how to communicate with the child, connect with the child, teach the child certain coping mechanisms when it comes to anger, when it comes to stress, managing emotions, and thrive in each developmental stage of a child. In short, a child psychologist helps you to understand and express emotion in a healthy, positive way, both for a parent and a child. Yes, so there are certain things which where my counseling, how the counseling session is planned. Um, Basically, when I meet a child for the first time, before that, I always prefer meeting a parent. The reason being, for me, it's very important to know the basics of the child, the family background, from where the child comes from, the geographical vicinity, everything I would like to know about a child before I take the case in my hand. So the first sitting is always with the parents. I take all the detailing from the parents. Few segments are such that when it is dealt with parents and the parents can sort at their end, but certain times we as psychologists have to intervene and get to meet the child. Now when I'm
Right.
talking about the key principles which a psychologist has to follow, um, there are times when certain methods used in the session will depend upon a child's age, the situation, and how the development has progressed when it comes to a child. There are a number of methods about it. There are a number of things, techniques, everything you done. Per se, if you would talk about me, when I meet a child, I would prefer just, kind of getting into a comfort zone for the child. So I would probably get into playing cards with the child, wherein I always make it a situation like one card and you ask the question, one card and the child asks me a question. So it's kind of a play game we start with, and probably in a third or fourth, a very structured question I introduce. So I
Mhm.
create a very safe, holistic space for the child to open up. There have been
Right.
times that I have also used few of the techniques from play therapy, or I have also used art, I have used clay, I have used stories, just to get into that comfort, because the children are somebody who would not answer you directly. So it's very important for a psychologist, a child psychologist, to get into his or her comfort zone, the child's comfort zone, and then initiate the talk. There have been times then I have seen that a child comes and sits in front of me on the chair, and he would kind of, tap on my table constantly. And I pick it up from there. So I start the rhythm with the child. So even I start tapping. And that's how I use movement. So I use movement as one of the therapy to connect with the child. So there are multiple things which I use, because for me, uh, connecting with the child is very, very important. I will not come to any questions. I will not come to any judgments or conclusions unless I actually know the child. I actually understand what is something which is bothering the child. And I give out a lot of other things, like I also ensure that I give them feeling cards, So I have a couple of
Mhm.
feeling cards been made. I have decorated the stones. So everything is put up on the table, and we use everything. There have been times that I start with a story. So it's very important that a psychologist listens, attends to the child in the first instance. So it has to be very attentive talk happening. very active listening. And when I say very active listening, it has to be kind of without touching anywhere in your body, or getting distracted by your phone or any other things. It has to be kind of look into the eyes and just very, very active listening, because it's a child. They are already a little playful. I always
Right.
also use certain things like verbal listening. So when I say verbal listening, when the child is talking, I would say, yeah, yes, please. So I keep on putting up that feelers for the child. My questions are very indirect sometimes, very closed questions, if I say. And sometimes when the child is about 12 or 13 is where I put up open questions.
Okay.
Otherwise, for a child below 10, I use a lot of closed questions. And that's
Okay.
how I start, my counseling starts that way with a child. So when it comes to techniques, Ms. Ba, basically techniques are kind of, it's kind of a vehicle for all the people who believes in techniques, or it's kind of things which adds a little gimmick to the whole scenario, or you are trying to connect with the client, your
Mm-hmm.
chotu client.
Hmm.
Certainly it adds dimensions, it adds lots of texture and to your work, because it gives a very friendly ear towards the process which you're going to kind of have it or implement while you're talking with your client. I usually use techniques which makes my therapy meaningful. So my techniques are basically interventions are basically more subjective. Um, they are kind of less on heavy elements, but they are rather fit rather than one true the best way of putting things on one platform and not making it a good fit on one platform, I would say, and not anything more specific to work upon. So
Mm-hmm.
the way techniques, but I would say I use two therapies, and for that I use a lot of techniques, because this two therapy is something which I want that everybody should be doing it, because it is very easy, something which is very, very helpful. So all my years of practice, right from 2002 to 2019, this too has already always helped me to connect with children, to help them to understand their emotions, to understand them better, and me, their behavior. So the first I would like to talk about is the play therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy, for me, play therapy comes, I use expressive art as a part of play therapy. So I use clay. I use a little of drama, not much, because I've never used drama as a therapy, but yes, little I use sometimes while I'm doing story. Story as it, I use movement. I use lot of therapy. Okay, so which is a part of the play therapy. I use colors. I use clay. So when I'm saying clay, right, I would like to discuss a bit about when I'm talking about clay, because
Sure.
which can be used, uh, you know, to understand the child, and it gives out everything what the child is facing. So clay and colors is two things which helps you to understand the child to the T. So when I'm
Okay.
talking about clay, the first thing, you know, and before that, whenever whichever therapy I decide that I need to do it with the child, I have an end goal set, because that's where I get to know that this is something which I need to arrive to. So in every sitting, I have an end goal set. So
Mm-hmm.
every counseling session with the child, I create an end goal and then I start my therapy. Right. And always before a therapy, also, it's kind of a little fun. And as I mentioned, I do a lot of play, card games, or probably there have been stones. So there are colorful stones and written a small stones. I have got it painted and I've got written the feelings, and which I play. So as we play the dice, I play with the stones with the child, and whichever comes we start talking about it. So before
Oh,
every therapy also, I need to make the child comfortable in that
okay.
space with me, because every time when the child comes with a different mindset. So every time I need to get to the space, a very non-judgmental space I create for the child, and then I start. So first, talking about clay. Um, I ask few times a child, which is called a sculpture. So I'll ask the child to create a sculpture, probably what the child is at the moment, probably what the child is seeing himself or herself for the next year, or to be like, after a few years. I use a lot of types of colors. So I ask them to use whichever colors clay he wants to mix and match, or he wants to kind of have just one monocolor and create a sculpture for himself. It's okay with me, right? And then I ask him to give a title to it. Then I always see what colors the child is picking up. So even color represents something or the other meaning, right? And it represents what the child is thinking. So it represents thoughts and the meaning as well. But I don't discuss that with the child. But yes, it helps me to understand the child better.
Absolutely.
Then along with the sculpture, I asked the child that who would love to be with the sculpture, your parents, your friends. And I talk about every relation. I talk about sculpture's food. I talk about what the sculpture likes, what the sculpture dislikes, and then the question is same every time. My end question is, how would you like the world to know this culture? So how would you know you, right? But when I'm talking to the child and talking in you language, the child is never going to connect with it. So what I do is I create the sculpture, help the child to connect, and then I start probing my question. And then it is so easy for the child even to talk about it, because he's comfortable. He's created his a sculpture, he's created his own clone. That's what I usually say, that let's together create. So I also create, I also do it, and he also does it. The child also does it, and that's how it's a beautiful journey. But yes, that helps me to help the child. I have also used movement. So when I'm talking
Okay.
about movement, movement helps in de-stressing. It helps in anger issue. So it helps in trauma. There have been times that I've got cases wherein a child has seen a dirty fight between the parents, yeah, and it's traumatic because it's kind of hitting, and violence is seen within the family, the four walls. So such cases also comes, and that affects the child a lot. So for me, a child goes up to a 17 or 18 years, right? Young adult, albeit, but for me it's a child, so I'm treating as a patient. So when such people come, I use a lot and lot of movement. And when I'm talking about movement, there are certain props also which I uses. I use there also I use colors, but I use ball. I use a stretch cloth. I use a lot and lot of scenes. I use a lot of role plays within the structure of movement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
So
hear me?
these are few of the techniques which I say where I use when it comes to play therapy. And the second, which I always recommend, is CBT, that's cognitive behavioral therapy, which is, it's completely evidence-based and helping for several, right from de-stressing to ability to function. It's for school-age children to a young adult. It helps everybody, right? So the concept behind the CBT is that it encourages a child or a youth to behaviors. And for CBT, I have few questions. I have created a test myself, because where I learned they had given us, so I have just modified a little. I modify as per where I am seeing that the child is either in the early depression. I don't cater to regressive the depression cases, because when it's a detailed depression, I just escalate to a psychiatrist. But yes, for early depression, I do treat. I do treat for fears. I do treat for anxiety. And there's a few of the things when it comes to CBT is where I've been actively using, right? And under CBT, I always work on the technique of identifying specific problem, where of the patterns of the child, the productive and the unproductive pattern both. Then I also emphasize on the technique of identifying the negative thinking and reshaping about how the reshaping happens within the child's mindset and the thought process. And I also keep monitoring the new behaviors while doing the therapy the child evolves, and tries to
Mm-hmm.
put in practice. So this is something which few techniques which I have been using when it comes to cognitive, behavioral therapy. Um, yeah, I'm there. Okay. So, so there are a few more things which can be used as a technique when it comes to CBT is the cognitive restructuring and reframing of the thoughts of for a child and for your own self as a being the therapist. A guided discovery needs to be done. So you might, as a you might ask, you might ask certain times for evidences, probably from the parent or from the anybody who is so related with the child before
Mm-hmm.
you assume or that supports your assumptions. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
Journaling is something which is a part of the technique I use under CBT. Thought records, right? So I ask them to write. I take support of parents sometimes when the child is really young.
Mm-hmm.
I also help the child in behavioral experiments. So indirect versions of behavioral experiments is what I do under CBT. I ask the child to improvise each time. So whichever scenario is there, and specifically I use it as behavioral experiments. I do it with youngsters a lot, and they have
Mm-hmm.
come back and told me that it's working really good for them. So this is one of the technique which works for youngsters a lot. It's behavioral experiment, and you ask them to improvise each time, and they really do it because there's a sense of understanding being cultivated while a CBT starts with them. So the therapy starts with them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, under CBT, I use stress reduction techniques for young adults. I use relaxation also, but for young minds also, I do relaxation. So for little children, relaxation music, relaxation to gratitude, then relaxation through movement. So this is something which really helps them. And once I have also for a trauma, a child under heavy trauma, I had also used the imaginary relaxation. So that had really helped the child to control emotions, kind of streamline it. And
Mm-hmm.
then while I've also used role play under CBT. So these are few of the techniques which I would suggest that, not sticking to one segment of just talk within CBT, but
Mm-hmm.
expand that whole segment of cognitive behavioral therapy and to looking to the um, looking to the child, his age, his developmental process, and how open the child is to accept the changes which you are getting into, indirectly or directly into his life.
Absolutely. I think that's a very thorough understanding of how she amalgamates or integrates different processes while working with children. And Riddhi, my next question would be that how does knowing these all techniques make difference in therapeutic alliances of child psychologists? So, um, how is it going to improve it, or what are the benefits of knowing these?
See, what happens is that while a psychologist is using these therapies, okay, it's a very
Mm-hmm.
creative force that is kind of it's striving constantly for a therapist to or for a psychologist to help his or her client. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful creative force. That's what I would say. And yes, through all the therapies, when a psychologist is amalgamating therapies, the end result is beautiful because one therapy and one structure doesn't work all the time. You need to change,
Absolutely.
you need to amalgamate, you need to mix, looking to the client, looking to the age, looking to which family the child belongs to, or whether
Absolutely.
to the extent that whether the child is coming from a single parenting family, or the child has both the parents, right? Both the parents, in sense the father and the mother. So
Right.
we need to get it to such detailing while you are dealing with a child. So amalgamation of therapies is something which I will always recommend, because if something doesn't work immediately, as a psychologist, you can just change the pattern immediately and start on working on the other therapy, not sticking to one segment which is kind of not giving you immediate results. Because when it comes to the child, it is very delicate. The matter is very delicate. They tend to
Right.
take our words. They tend to take our behavior. They tend to take our expressions and emotions very easily on them, and that's how they build a judgment for us. And specifically, children under 8, they call us, happy auntie, or they give us such names, right? So for emotions, facial expressions also matters to the T, right? So
Right.
it is very important that you amalgamate all the time. You keep on amalgamating, and you keep on changing. Do not sit with one structure while you deal with the child. I mean, it's a problem each parent is facing since the lockdown has started. What you can do is involve your child in day-to-day chores of, right from the kitchen to involving the child in cleaning the house, uh, everything. Let the child be a part of it. Even if the lockdown is not there, you should be involving child in each and everything, albeit age appropriate, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
we're talking about involve the child in budgeting, involve the child in of the house, everything. Make the child feel somebody who is, a part of the family, and not somebody who is just ignored all the time. The time you make your child responsible, and once the child starts feeling responsible, you will see that a lot of unwanted behavior is not seen. So time, involve the child, spend child. At the end of the day, what you can do is play a board game, help the child to have a journal. So sit with the child and start journaling 4 questions which you need to deal on to every day while you're journaling with the child. First thing, how was your day? And when it comes to how was your day, the first question, the answer which a child, okay, good, bad. So ask the child, have a synonym for the word good, bad, and okay. So you are giving a vocabulary to your child. Secondly, what you can do is ask your child how many emotions and feelings he have experienced throughout the day. Third, which emotions and expressions, uh, emotions and feelings that reoccur to the child. Use that
Mhm.
as a opportunity to connect with your child, talk what is bothering. And the fourth thing is one thing which you would like to carry forward for the next day, one emotion or one feeling. The child needs to start the other day with the same thing. So journaling is something which is going to help you. So before sleeping, what you can do is play music and sit with the child, ask the child. You can also do it as a parent. Eyes, and while the music is on, something which is very instrumental and soft, ask the child to close the eyes and relax and concentrate on breathing. Initially, the child will not do it. It's okay. But the child will learn to sit at one, the child from the screen time, which is kind of one-way communication, to completely a shift to a two-way communication while journaling and all is happening. There would be chances that the child might not feel comfortable doing it, but make it a very play way and involve the child in doing it. And initially, even if the child doesn't sit properly, it's fine, but it's going to help on the subconscious mind. The child will relax and the child will have a good sleep. Also, the concentration is going to increase. And while you are doing journaling, the child is understanding a two-way communication, which unfortunately, while watching TV, is just one-way communication. So the child doesn't know what the emotions and feelings he comes across every day and at every moment. So you're opening up a space for your child to even talk and express. And
Mhm.
that way you're creating a wonderful relation with your child. I discuss for night terrors, what you can do is, first thing, whenever the child wakes up in the night crying or very. The first thing the parent has to be the parent. Just take the, because there's a sense of a touch is needed at that. What you can do is now I'm talking from the perspective of psychologist to a parent. Huh? So what as a parent you can do is give a tight hug. Secondly, while you make the child sleep, strokes. Even while you wake up the child in the morning, give positive strokes. Use music to make the child sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Night terror basically because the many times, at least 85 to 86% of the time, the night terrors happen because of two things. One is if the child sees any violence on the streets. Second, any sort of fear has been instilled in the, right? Because of these two things, the night terrors happen majority of the time. So try and understand what is the trigger between the night terrors. If it is screen time, if it's the TV or some serials or some violent movie, you need to stop that. Secondly, if some fears have been, because there are many parents who say is that khana nahi khaya to ye aa jayenge, tujhe masti kiya to I will put you in the bathroom. That there are few things which there's a fear associated, and that certainly gives the child terrors in the night. So you need to take care about this. Like communication is something which is very soft, caring, and very mindful when it comes to a child. Okay, so yes, I wouldn't suggest if you're a psychologist, use CBT. Use play therapy. Use all the segments of play therapy, I would, or a counselor. And if you're aware of both the segments, use this with the child, because play therapy is something which helps a child to once again, if you're a psychologist, ensure that that doesn't come up in one segment. Do not give any solutions to the parent. A psychologist and being a child psychologist, give solutions. You are there to probe, you are there to facilitate, and you are there to create a structure where the parent understands. Right? Ensure that you use CBT to some extent, but you use, for 6-year-olds, play therapy works wonders, just wonders. Use sculpture. Even you can do is while the client comes, the little one comes to your office, you can just create a story. Start with a story and have a blackboard and ask the child to draw something and start adding to it. And you might see that while the drawing is on, the child might come and put up something which is a point of talk for you as a psychologist. And to probe further on to what is the anxiety about. Probably it's a touch. Probably it's a fear of getting spanked. Probably it's a fear of getting judged. So you might get to know to start detailing if you use drawings and all. Colors also work. Up some few colors on your table, and while the child is talking, you may say, let's start some coloring and let's do some drawing, and pick it up from there. It will really help you to help the child overcome the anxiety. Misbah, one thing I missed out for the anxiety thing, movement helps in anxiety, So what you can do is create a warm-up and create a process for a child. So if overcoming anxiety is your end goal, right? Understand how to have a warm-up. So you can start with some basic connect. If you understand that it's anxiety for one particular person and it's related, the child is not open up to in regard to it, you can use various things. So play is something which you can start a movement on rhythm basis with the child, and then tell the child that we're going to play a game. So I'm going to close my eyes and you need to give me a feather touch on my body. Okay. And then afterwards it's your turn. So when body, if the child reacts to certain touch, you immediately get a signal that this is something. And then if you are aware of what is movement therapy, take it up on the process set, help the child to overcome. Movement, that is, I'm talking about dance movement, helps tremendously when it comes to anxiety and depression. And trauma as well.
Absolutely. So I think that clarity. And the next question was Riddhi that a parent, I think she's asking that certain techniques that you can suggest for a child having ADHD and a conduct issue. And since there's a lot of screen time for mobile and TV, what are the tips that you would suggest?
Okay, if you are a parent and your child is suffering from ADHD and currently you cannot take the child out for any sort of therapy, what you can do is, say, screen time is supposed to be reduced to 30. Remember, is involve the child in something where his hyperactivity is channelized. So you might put the child in kind of skipping, right? Skipping might increase the hyperactivity. So you might do that one skip. We do something which is stationed, which is something that the child sits and do it. Probably then after some time again one skip and then again you sit and do it. Right? Or probably start with Surya Namaskar as a way of exercises, because this is something, one or two Surya Namaskar is fine, not more than that. Involve musical meditation. Involve the child in chess. Okay, that's going to help your child a lot. Since because currently we can't go for swimming, we can't go for something which is going to channelize it. Use something which is to help your child. It's a 6-year-old child, you said. You can always use puzzles. Okay, you can use colors, because colors colors work on your subconscious mind a lot. So use colors. Avoid red, dark green, and black. And what you can do is you have chart papers and take colors and start moving on the base, I mean to say, and let the child construct something. If the child is 6 years old, give a lot of clay as well. So आटा गूंदने को दे दो, भाजी में use करो, उसको help करो, kitchen में ले लो. As a, you can involve the child that I need your help, and involve the child on something. So basically, if the child is detected with ADHD, do something when the child sits at one place, involved in some interesting activities when the child. Board games works wonders for children who are early ADHD as well. So use these things which the child understands to sit at one place and can work over, and it's kind of therapeutic as well.
Absolutely. I think that gives you clarity, Zenith. There's a question from Suryakant about how do you talk to parents of special children who are very keen in seeking results very soon?
Okay, so Suryakant, I do not deal with special children unless I'm doing dance movement as a therapy. That's where I only use dance movement as to connect with children to conduct sessions. But when it comes to connecting with parents or connecting on one-to-one basis, so I will not be the right person to answer this. For attention span and autistic, again, take help from special educators. But yes, I would suggest that for autistic children, I have personally used movement. I have personally used, movement, but with lot of props. So I have used dupatta, I have used stretch cloth, I have used beads, I have used a lot of things as a prop to work with an autistic child. Okay, so as keeping movement in mind, but this is something which I have done it. But I would suggest follow somebody who is into special education and who is a therapist herself, so that she or he can help you out better. Yes, I can explain. So if you want to create a vocabulary for emotions, right? What you can do is create few chits, and on those papers, write different emotions. So हम emotions, a normal human being, like नवरस हमें पता, सबको नवरस पता है, right? So what you can do is write those emotions on that paper and उसको dice की तरह खेलना शुरू करो. So हर रोज रात को while you're doing the journaling, sit and use paper, this chits as a dice, and whichever opens, whoever opens and whichever chit opens, the person needs to talk about that emotion. This is how you are making your child aware of that particular emotions. Again, second, as I mentioned, ask the child to or her to recall how many emotions and feelings he came across throughout the day. Yeah. So that's going to help the child understand the emotions and feelings, and whichever emotions and feelings you feel that it's reoccurring, sit with the child and talk about it. Do not pinpoint directly, but talk about it in a very indirect way, so that the child doesn't feel that his emotions and feelings is judged. He is judged, but he expresses it. That's how it's supposed to be done. And that's how the vocabulary about the emotions and feelings and acknowledging self emotions and feelings starts. Okay. So there is a game which I always use while it comes to a child and ADHD. Okay. So that's a kind of a slow motion game. So which involves a play therapy as well. And it's a very different, it kind of creates self control for the child, because children with ADHD face. So I was talking about a game, right, which I
Right.
usually
Yes.
because for ADHD children the self control is kind of, it's really difficult. Okay, so
Mhm.
what I do is I ask a child. So I take a pack of cards and I ask a child that uh, if I put one card on the table, then I mix it, and then I make it said how it goes about fast forwarding, fast forward goes. So this is something which I involve the child in constantly. Also, I involve the child when it comes to the early ADHD. Also, I use a pile of cards even to create, like a house or something which we have been playing in our childhood days. But I use that certainly for a child as a therapy. Okay, then I always use that. Let us create a wall, and how would you, with your fingers, being a person, how do you climb the wall of cards, but in a very, very
Mhm.
slow motion. So I introduce the word slow motion and self control by doing such activities with the child. I involve the child in even writing. I involve the child that while you're picking up a card, let us do in the multiple of three. So if the card is taken up once and dharam se le liya, I said, okay, now count 1, 2, 3, and the card comes. So it's like a, I involve the child in everything when there is a motion associated, right? So that helps a
Right.
child a sense of control that starts emerging in the child. This is something which you can try it. It's a beautiful game, and I have done it multiple times with the child who I have few clients with me, and I've done it, and it works wonder, and the child enjoys as well. But there's two things which you can indirect intervention you can start with the child while doing this activity. How beautiful. I assume that you are a parent. So
Yeah,
watching,
I think so. She's okay.
I have been preaching about this every, and you can also start doing it. So one thing is start family time. So family time is something which, first start family time with people in the house, barring your children. So say it to be your in-laws or your parents, whoever is staying together, start family time. Now, where family time is what? You can start appreciating each other. So throughout the week, do not appreciate much, or it's fine. Live a routine life, but family time is fixed day, fixed time. And what you can do is have a family time wherein you appreciate each other's behavior, and then come to the point which is something which is a matter of concern for you, and say that this is something which I or we really don't appreciate. We can just help us to solve this. No cross questioning, but talk talk it out. Sometimes what happens is that whenever we say that we want to work on our children, the first thing the grandparents would say that we have also reared a child, and your husband or your wife is something which you live with 24 into 7. So this comes
True.
very often from grandparents. But remember one thing, when comes to discipline, set few family rules has to be there, which you can inculcate. Certain family rules has to be done within the family time. Create rules which everybody has to observe within the family. So certain ground rules has to be there. Third thing, when it comes to disciplining, this love is something which gets associated love with grandparents. A little care
Riddhi,
is
your
what
voice is
grandparents does.
breaking.
While
Your voice is breaking.
again,
Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
my
Yeah, now
goodness.
better. अब वापस शुरू
Okay.
कर दीजिए.
Yeah. So I was, when it comes to love and care is something grandparents. So let it be their forte. When it comes to disciplining, you take it over. So create rules in such a way that they also don't feel neglected. They also don't feel unwanted, but they become a part of, upbringing your child, but use what is their forte and make it so beautiful. So the relationship also flourishes, the child also gets a very beautiful environment within the house, because if there is an unbun happening between you and your in-laws or something which is not correct, the child grasps that, and that's what the child is going to mirror later on. So let us create
That's
something so beautiful within the four walls that the child learns something that is a long term impact on the child. Question, but let me answer. So the child is aware. Many a times the children are aware of it because they see if it is happening within the family. But yes, when such scenes come on, you tend to see on the while the movie is on or any TV serials is on, take that opportunity to give the right information to your child about drugs and alcohol. Explain the responsibilities associated, the pros and cons associated with that particular thing, or the usage of that substance. The child needs to be aware of. Share examples wherein the children
mm-hmm.
have indulged and not a good life later on, or have been cheated, or have to undergo so many things later. So you can share that, but see to it that it is age appropriate. By 11 or 12 only start talking about these things. Pick up opportunity while you're watching a movie or a TV serial, but not before that, and do not initiate samne se unless and until child ask. Then take up this opportunity and explain it out. It is very important these days, because the latest case, the recent one which I have come across is the child by 10 and a half was substance like he was using drugs, and he
Okay.
was kind of abused by a friend. And so by 10 and a half and 11 is the time you need to initiate the talks, because the child needs to understand he should not be cheated or used or abused by somebody who wants to work or negatively on your child.
Absolutely. That's a very fair point to go with. There's a question from Vaishali. Do you agree that the games kids play online nowadays is related to aggressiveness? I
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Why do you allow a child to play games online? Aren't there offline games available? Involve the child in playing offline games ना. Online में क्या रखा है? Studies हो रही है, वही बहुत है.
True that. There's also a question about how do you build rapport with non-verbal kids?
Okay, so before this online thing, na games thing,
Mm-hmm.
let me share an example wherein in fact, I recently cited. I'm discussing this case on social media because this is something which has to be taken up very seriously by parents.
Mm-hmm.
So a few months back, I would say a year back, I had a case wherein a child of 10 years, and it had come in newspapers as well. So a child of
Okay.
10 and a half was playing a game on mobile phone, and the aggression raised to that level that he tend to just slept, and the person who slept was his father. So it really it impacted the father a lot, a lot. I would not deny to it. And in fact, the child was treated by me, and the father was treated by a senior psychologist. So you need to take care that when it comes to online games, see what your child is playing. Not all games are bad, right? But see what your child is playing, whether it's educative, whether it's non-educative. What is the end? What is the end? You know. The segment associated, not the end segment. I would say, what is the segment associated with that game? Because that some games, even the child needs to put the personal information, and there have been times when cyberbullying has happened through those games. So see
Mm-hmm.
what your child is playing, involve the child in offline rather than a lot of online. And if it's online, see to it that you observe what your child is playing. Very important.
Absolutely.
So when you say non-verbal, is the child is not able to speak or the child speaks less? It is structured and unstructured both. If you talk
Okay.
about me,
Mm-hmm.
I start with a very unstructured way, but I end up in a very structured way.
Okay.
Okay. So my way of I start my session with a very unstructured. I use a lot of cards and props to connect, and it's a very very unstructured. Kabhi kabhi half an hour we in 1 hour sitting or 1.5 hour the child is with me. We end up talking of a lot of things, characters, cartoon characters, grass, environment, all that stuff. So it's completely unstructured, right?
Mm-hmm.
We even play. So एक बार मेरे साथ हुआ था, I was like, I was playing with a child just to get in comfort because मेरी first sitting थी वो child के साथ, and the parent came in, and the parent was completely shocked that ये हो क्या रहा है, because the parent thought that the child psychologist is kind of going to start working on the very first day with my child, और हम दोनों तो खेल रहे थे और वो rhythm चल रहा था. So the parent had a shock of his life, but later I explained that that's how it works, you know. And now the parent is
Absolutely.
a very good friend as well, but yes, that time it was kind of a shock for him. Coming back to a
Okay.
very unstructured way of working, I start basically a very unstructured way leading to a process set. Now when I talk to about a process, since the therapies which I use, the CBT, or I use movement, I use play therapy, movement is a part of it. There is a process being created with having an end goal in mind. So when I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about movement, if I see that the child has a lot of bottled up emotions, okay, my warm up or my initially unstructured way would start with something on gibberish. चल बात करते हैं, but अपनी language में बात नहीं करते. Let's talk gibberish, and we come out with all nonsense talks, but in gibberish. Okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
child is comfortable laughing everything, and then have a little clay. I ask the child to create a structure or a clone, and I would say, now talk to the clone. I'm talking to my clone, you talk to your clone, and again in gibberish so that I don't understand, you know. But while the child is doing gibberish, and with while I set up a tone for all this gibberish that happens, sometimes the child tends to relate. कोई हंसता है, कोई रोता है, कोई एकदम चुप हो जाता है, but that helps you to set the process right, to receive the end goal, that helping the
That's
child
amazing.
to come up with that bottled up emotions with the child has it. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
going to happen in one sitting for sure. It might take the 2 or 3. Give assurance to the parent that the end results are going to be good, but give us time, you know. These days I see a lot of parents want immediate effect, that ek sitting hua and my child needs to be kind of perfect, and all the problems needs to be solved, the behavior needs to be solved. वो नहीं होता है. For children you need to have patience, because sometimes the psychologist can't even initiate a single thing in the first sitting, because the child doesn't respond, and you can't force a child. You certainly can't force a child, because thoda bhi force ho jata hai, the child will not come second time.
Absolutely. One
So
thing.
so before you answer, let me give so if the child is 2.5, there must be a delayed speech. So what you can do is you need to talk full sentences with the child. So if the child is pinpointing for a glass of water, you need to ask, oh, you need a glass of water? Wait, I am giving you a glass of water. So this way you are creating a vocabulary for the child. But if the child is 5 or 6 years and still not started, please go to a speech therapist at earliest and start taking the sittings. The lockdown is done. Take up an visit, because a speech therapist is something which can, by this age, a therapist is needed for sure. But this you can
Yeah.
always start at home as well when it comes to speech, because if you keep talking to full sentences, there have been times that the child picks up and starts, initially might be a word or two, but later on the child has created the vocabulary. So jab speech therapist starts putting the things right, it works positively on the child.
You're right. So she's just mentioned that the child is of 6 years of age. So I think she's already answered what to do
Yes,
with
you
the
need to
speech.
visit. Yes.
Yeah. I think we're almost past the time, but there's one question I'll take up before we wind up. So there's a question from Rekha asking that my sister and her husband don't get along. She realizes excessive playing of video games is not good, but her husband just wants control of the child and buys the costliest video games and supports the child in playing. How to stop the child from playing?
Oh, that is unfortunate, right? Because when it comes to the child, a single parenting is not about a single parent dealing with the child. It's all about two people, because a child is the offspring of two people. So in decisions, in connecting, in solutions regard to the child, every time two people have to be involved. Unless, so in this case, what you can do is the mother can explain directly or indirectly, also can introduce a professional, saying a friend, or the person is going to help you to understand, in regard to the screen time what you are using. If the child, what is the child's age? I am sorry, I missed out on that.
She's not mentioned it, child's age.
Because when it comes to child psychology, it's all upon age. I mean, age matters a lot.
Yes, she's not. Rekha, if you could mention the age, we will be in a better position to help you with it.
Okay,
So till the
so
time she
I'll I'll
comes,
I'll 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 resume. I'll resume. So what you can do is, if somebody can talk to the father, or the mother can take a stand in this case, because it's going to certainly affect the mental health of a child for sure, right? So what the mother can do is start making him understand, start involving the child in different things, or probably few offline classes. अभी ऑफलाइन नहीं रहे हैं तो जितना ऑनलाइन हो सकता है, जैसे ड्रामा है, अप्लाइड थिएटर हो रहा है, आई हैड इन्वॉल्व माय चाइल्ड एज वेल, फॉर चेस है, जो भी थिंग्स ऑनलाइन हो सकती हैं, right? Language learning, involve the child in all this stuff, so that the child stays busy, and that video games doesn't stay of so much importance in the child's life. So directly or indirectly, uh, भले father लाके दे रहे हैं, that's really unfortunate, because he probably wants to prove, but the mother can start doing this, because at the end of the day the child's mental health is on stake. So she should be putting her foot down and start working over it, involving the child in multiple things, rather than making the child sit idle, or divert towards video games, because जब idle बैठता है बच्चा, तभी उसको ये सब चीजें देखती है. Thank you.